So, because today we're celebrating Radhastami, we'll chant a special bhajan by Srila Jiva Goswami. Yeah. It's Yugalashtaka, which describes the unity between Radha and Krishna. Radha is Shakti and he is the Shaktiman. He is Sarva Shaktiman and she is the main Shakti of his. So the main essence of this bhajan, Jivaneni dhane nityam Radha Krishna Gatir Mama. Whether I am living or I am dying, always Radha and Krishna is the goal of my life. Because the main goal of my life is to obtain love for Krishna. And I can only obtain this love for Krishna by the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Krishna prema mai Radha, Radha prema mayo Hari.
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 Jivane nidhane nityam, Radha Krishna gatir mama.
Jivane nidhane nitya, Radha Krishna gatir mama.
Jivane nidhane nityam, Radha Krishna gatir mama.
Jivane nidhane nitya, Radha Krishna gatir mama.
Krishnasya dravinam Radha, Radhaya dravinam Hari.
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 Jivane nidhane nityam, Radha Krishna gatir mama. Pranamayo Hari.
Krishna Ramamayi Radha, Radha Ramamayo Hari.
Krishna Pranamayi Radha, Radha Pranamayo Hari.
Krishna Ramamayi Radha, Radha Ramamayo Hari.
Jivane nidhane nitya, Radha Krishna Gatir Maha.
Jivane nidhane nityam, Radha Krishna Gatir Mama.
Jivane nidhane nitya, Radha Krishna Gatir Maha.
Jivane nidhane nityam, Radha Krishna Gatir Mama.
Krishna ye stita Radha, Radha ye stito Hari.
Krishna ke Sita Radha, Radha ke Sita Hari.
Krishna ye stita Radha, Radha ye stito Hari.
Krishna ke Sita Radha, Radha ke Sita Hari.
Jivane nidhane nityam, Radha Krishna Gatir Maha.
Jivane nidhane nityam, Radha Krishna Gatir Mama.
Jivane nidhane nityam, Radha Krishna Gatir Maha.
Jivane nidhane nityam, Radha Krishna Gatir Mama.
Radha Radha Radha, Radha Hari.
Nilambara Dara Radha, Pitambara Daro Hari.
Radha Radha, Pidambara Naro Hari.
Nilambara Dara Radha, Pitambara
Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama
Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Krishna Premamai Radha, Radha Premamaya Hari,
Krishna Premamai Radha, Radha Premamayo Hari.
Krishna Premamai Radha,
Jivane nidane nitya Radha Krishna Radhir Mama.
Shri Shri Radha Londonisvara ki
Jai.
Shrimati Radharani ki
Jai.
Shri Shri Radhastami Mahamahotsava ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Do you have the book? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Janmadhyasya yatanvayate tarataschaर्थ्यश्वभिज्ञस्वरात् तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वरिमृदं यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गमृषा धम्नस्विना सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि सत्यं परं धीमहि सत्यं परं धीमहि यं प्राव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातरा जुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतयो तरवो विनेदुस् तं सार्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रयेष्वभाद्रिषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Hare Krishna. So today, on the occasion of Sri Radharani's appearance day, we will read with you one verse from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the 18th verse of the 3rd chapter, 5th chapter of the 10th canto. We know that in Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Shukadev Goswami does not mention directly the name Radha. But at the same time, all Srimad Bhagavatam is about Radha. Because Srimad Bhagavatam describes the highest love, which is the essence of Krishna. We all know God is love, but how He is love, how He manifests His love, in which way He interacts with living entities and His energies, it's all in detail described in Srimad Bhagavatam. And therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is about Srimati Radharani only. And Shukadev Goswami, our acharyas explained that Shukadev Goswami didn't mention directly the name Radha because if he would do this, he thought he would faint in ecstasy, and this ecstasy would last for 3 months, and in the meantime the time for departure of Maharaja Parikshit would pass, and the whole purpose would be defeated. Maharaja Parikshit had only 7 days to live, and Shukadev Goswami wasn't sure whether he will be able to contain himself, so carefully he avoided to name Srimati Radharani directly. It actually is a very great lesson for us, because sometimes we mention her name without due reverence and adoration, without due feelings. It's not so cheap. It's not that, Radhe Radhe Shyam Shyam, as sometimes they do during the kirtan. Of course, when we chant Radhe Radhe, nobody faints in ecstasy, which also shows our level of spiritual advancement. But again, Srila Sukadeva Goswami is very cautious, and he is, by not naming her directly, giving us the warning how careful we should be while describing her pastimes directly. So let's, with utmost care, chant the verse where Sukadeva Goswami reveals, one of the verses where he reveals his complete devotion and dedication to Srimati Radharani. And this verse is also very appropriate for today's occasion, because actually this verse describes the appearance of Srimati Radharani in Braj. Again, somewhat indirectly, but nevertheless quite directly. Tataha Arabhya Nandasya Vrajaha Sarva Samriddhiman Harehe Nivasa Atmagunaihi Rama Akridam Abhut Nripa Tatarabhyanandasya Rajah Sarva Samriddhiman Harer Nivasat Magunai Rama Kridam Abhunripa Tatarabhyanandasya Rajah Sarva Samriddhiman Harer Nivasat Magunai Rama Kridan Abhundripa. Somebody else?
Tata Arabhyanandasya Raja Sarva Samriddhiman Hare Nivasatma Gunai Rama Kridam Abhunrupa
Tata Arabhyanandasya Raja Sarva Samriddhinam Harer Nivasatma Gunai Rama Kridam Abhunrupa
Mataji?
Tata Arabhyanandasya Raja Sarva Samriddhiman Hare Nivasatma Gunai Rama Kridam Abhunrupa
Tataha Arabhya. Beginning from that time. Nandasya of Nanda Maharaj's
of Nanda Maharaj
Vrajaha Vrajabhumi,
Rajabhumi,
the land for protecting and breeding cows.
the land of protecting and breeding cows.
Sarva Samriddhiman
Sarva Samriddhiman
became opulent with all kinds of riches.
became opulent of all kinds of riches.
Harehe
Harehe
Nivasa
Nivasa
of the residence
of the
of
residence
the Supreme Personality of God.
of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Atmagunaihi,
Atmagunaihi,
by the transcendental qualities.
by the transcendental qualities.
Rama Akridam,
Rama Akridam,
the place of pastimes
the pastimes
of the goddess of fortune.
of the goddess of fortune.
Abhut
Abhut became Nripa,
O king,
O king,
Maharaja Parikshit.
Maharaj Parikshit.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vijnana Goswami Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
O Maharaja Parikshit, the home of Nanda Maharaja is eternally the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His transcendental qualities, and is therefore always naturally endowed with the opulence of all wealth. Yet beginning from Lord Krishna's appearance there, it became the place for the pastimes of the goddess of fortune. Purport. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasam Brahmasya Yamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The abode of Krishna is always served by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. Wherever Krishna goes, the goddess of fortune naturally resides with him. The chief of the goddesses of fortune is Srimati Radharani. Therefore, Krishna's appearance in the land of Raja indicated that the chief goddess of fortune, Radharani, would also appear there very soon. Nanda Maharaja's abode was already opulent, and since Krishna had appeared, it would be opulent in all respects. Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Tata Arabhyananda Syavraja Sarva Samriddhiman Harer Nivasatma Gunai Rama Kridan Abhun Ripa. O Maharaja Parikshit, the home of Nanda Maharaja is eternally the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His transcendental qualities, and is therefore always naturally endowed with the opulence of all wealth. Yet beginning from Lord Krishna's appearance there, it became the place for the pastimes of the goddess of fortune. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vijnana Goswami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desadarine Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devascha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nadakharishimam Vachimam Prasuktam Sanjivayate Kila Shakti Darak Svadham Nanyam Shahastra Charana Shavana Tvagadim Pranam Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Svasyasta Vishwasya Bhava Prasidatam Deyam Puputani Shivam Mitudya Anascha Badram Bhajata Padakshache Aleshitam Namatira Yahai Tuki. Krishna. So blessings of yours and of Shri Radha Londonisvara. I will try to say a few words on the occasion of the appearance of Srimati Radharani. So here in this verse, this is the last verse in the long series of verses where Srila Shukadev Goswami explains Nandotsav, the beautiful and amazing festival which Nanda Maharaj arranged in Braj on the occasion of appearance of Lord Krishna. Just 2 weeks back we were celebrating Janmashtami, and we were describing at that time, or meditating at that time on this festival, and we were trying to reproduce the same sort of festival. Of course, the difference was that the inhabitants of Raj would throw yogurt at each other, and we usually don't do this in Hare Krishna temples. But although it is completely bona fide, it's a way to celebrate Krishna's Janmashtami and actually Radhastami too. So if the temple president will allow, we can do this, but I doubt it. In any case, that's the custom in Braj. They have so much milk products, so they use the excess of milk products by throwing it at each other on these festival days. In any case, when Shukadev Goswami is explaining this beautiful festival in Braj, he first of all saying that Nanda Maharaj gave 2 million cows in charity. And not only 2 million cows, but the hoofs of the cows were all plated by silver, and the horns were gold plated. Just for your information, when Vasudev Maharaj in the prison house of Kamsa also celebrated Krishna's appearance, he couldn't do anything in reality, so mentally he also distributed cows, because this is the custom when something very, some joyful occasion is coming, you have to give. Giving is one of the main features of Vedic culture. The Vedic culture is the culture of giving, because this is the culture which teaches us to love. And to love means to give. So when Vasudev Maharaj saw Krishna in person and was very joyful on this occasion, he also started giving cows to Brahmanas mentally. And at this occasion he gave 10,000 cows. I mean, you can imagine that, mentally you could give more cows. It doesn't matter how many cows you give. It's in your mind. But he gave, it specifically said, 10,000 cows. But when Nanda Maharaj, in reality, not mentally gave cows, he gave 2 million cows. Much, much more. And not only just ordinary cows, but cows with gold-plated horns and hoofs, silver-plated, all decorated with jewels and, beautiful cows. So, and then Shukadev Goswami continues describing these festivities, and naturally the question may arise in the mind of the listeners and maybe Shukadev Goswami, how is that possible that so much opulence was given during this festival? How is that possible that, 2 million cows? We know that normally Nanda Maharaj only has, 900,000 cows. But on occasion of Krishna's birth, he gave 2 million cows without even thinking twice, whether something will, a cow will remain in his cow shed. And therefore, Shukadev Goswami, to explain this, while concluding this description of Krishna's birth ceremony and Nandotsav, he says that because Tata Arabhya Nandasya Vrajak Sarva Samridhiman, Vraj became opulent. It was opulent before. It was immensely opulent, as Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, even before. But Tatah, since the time, Tatah Arabhya, since the time when Krishna appeared there with all his qualities. Because when Krishna appears in person, because he's a person, he has qualities. And he appears with all his qualities, as specifically said there, Atma Gunaihi. He appeared together with all his qualities. And his qualities are his energies. His energies are his opulences. Therefore, Sarva Samridhiman, all the amazing opulences also appeared in Vraj together with him, and Vraj has become Rama Kridan. Vraj has become the place of the pastimes of Goddess of Fortune. And of course, Srila Prabhupada explains that when Shukadev Goswami here, in this particular occasion, mentions Rama, Lakshmi Devi, he means the original Lakshmi Devi, Adi Lakshmi Devi, Shrimati Radharani. So she appeared together with him at the same day when Krishna appeared, but in her personal form, she appeared 1 year and 15 days later. That's very important to understand, because we're celebrating this day of Janmashtami, the day when the moon is in the constellation of Anuradha. Anuradha is the special constellation which signifies Shrimati Radharani. So her appearance day, her bona fide appearance day, when the energy of love appears in this world, is this 8th day of the bright part of the Bhadra months, 8th day when the moon enters the constellation of Anuradha. So first, before explaining the pastimes of her appearance, maybe immediately now I will speak little controversy about her age. Because in different sampradayas, Radha is a mysterious figure. Actually, before Lord Chaitanya appeared in this world, hardly anyone knew about Shrimati Radharani. Even in Vrindavan, Krishna was alone. He was standing there on the altar alone without Shrimati Radharani for a long time. Because in Vrindavan, we all know that Radha and Krishna are not married. And you cannot really openly place a girlfriend in a Vedic culture in front of your lover. It would be a scandal all over Vraj. Therefore, for a long time, Krishna was alone there. And people were worshipping Krishna alone, without Shrimati Radharani, because she is a very confidential goddess. She is the most confidential and mysterious figure in the whole Vedic literature. So much so that Shukadev Goswami doesn't mention her directly. Therefore, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Shrimati Radharani's fame became, really glorious, and only after his appearance she became very prominent and famous. And of course now everyone, even in London, chants Radhe Radhe. So now it has become a kind of ordinary event. But before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, nobody knew, hardly anyone knew about Srimati Radharani. Yes, Jayadev Goswami wrote his poem Gita Govinda, where her name is mentioned, and this poem was chanted in Jagannath Puri, but besides that, hardly anyone knew about her. And therefore, when she appeared, different sampradayas, they started developing her theology, so to speak. And therefore, when we study the customs of different sampradayas, we see quite starking differences. Their understanding of Srimati Radharani is somewhat different. Like in Vallabha Sampradaya, the followers of Vallabha Sampradaya of Pushti Marg, which is very prominent and famous in Raj and in Gujarat, they follow Garga Samhita. And in Garga Samhita it is said that Srimati Radharani appeared 5 years before Krishna. She was 5 years older than Krishna. Now in Radhavallabha Sampradaya or in Nimbarka Sampradaya, they say that Srimati Radharani appeared in the same day as Krishna. That they're of the same age. But in Gaudiya Sampradaya, we are very adamant, and we say, Srila Jiva Goswami explains it very clearly, that Srimati Radharani 1 year and 15 days younger than Krishna. Why? Because our Sampradaya is teaching rasa. And how the rasa can develop if the girl is 5 years older than you. Of course, nowadays everything is possible. But in a normal society, the real rasa relationship or very intimate relationship can only appear if the girl is younger than the boy. And also, Dhyan Chand Goswami in his Gaur-Govinda Padati, he explains that the eternal age of Krishna is 14 years, 9 months, 15 years, 9 months, and 7.5 days. I don't know why 7.5 days, but it is specifically said there. So he's 15 years, 9 months, and 7.5 days eternally. So that's his eternal age, or that's his eternal mood, because the age in the spiritual world means mood. So, when the next time you will become 14 years, 15 years, 9 months, and 7.5 days, mark your mood. It may be significant. So, and it is said that Srimati Radharani is her eternal age as Kishori, as eternal teenager. She is 14 years and 2 months. So she is, again, 1 year younger than Krishna. While saying this, we have to go back to Tattva of Srimati Radharani, because without understanding the Tattva, we will never be able to understand Leela. Leela only depict and describe Tattva for us to facilitate our meditation on the Tattva. It's very difficult for us to meditate on Tattva because, philosophy is difficult not to crack. But when the Leela is describing the same Tattva, then we can, while meditating on the Leela, we can understand Tattva more deeper. We can go into the Tattva, into the essence, into the philosophy deeper. But when we only, describe Leelas, describe the stories, then the tendency will be there that we forget the tattva. The lila is only there to help us to understand the deeper essence of what it is. So before describing the lila of Srimati Radharani's appearance, which is proper on this day, we should understand who she is. As it is said here that, as Srila Prabhupada explains, that she is the original energy of the Supreme Lord in her full glory. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains that in more details, and in even more detail in Bhagavad Sandarbha, where Jiva Goswami explains Krishna's energy, and in Paramatma Sandarbha also, in Krishna Sandarbha, but in Bhagavad Sandarbha specifically, where Jiva Goswami explains the tattva, the philosophy, the nature of the Supreme Lord. He explains his energies, and it is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who follows Jiva Goswami, that the nature of God is Satchitananda. We all know this. The three energies, the three spiritual energy, the energy of eternity, of existence, Sat, or what is this? What is this? Sanvit, Hladini? Sandini Shakti, which is the representation of Sat, eternity, quality of the Lord. The essence of Sadini Shakti is Shuddha Sattva. The pure plane of existence where Krishna manifests himself, where the eternal abode of Krishna is manifest, where his pastimes manifest, and where his form manifest. The essence of Shuddha Sattva, the essence of Sandini energy, Sandini Shakti, is actually the abode of Krishna and the form of Krishna. The beauty of Krishna is the creation of Sandini Shakti. That's the essence, the very core of his energy of existence. Now, Samvit Shakti is actually higher than Sandini Shakti. The Srila Jiva Goswami explains that these three energies, Sandini, Samvit, and Hladini, they are progressively higher of each other. So, because existence is only meaningful if there is consciousness. If there would not be consciousness, for example, in this earth, would this earth have any meaning? No, there wouldn't be any meaning. It would be just, a pile of dust. The essence of existence is consciousness. You agree with this? So, the essence of existence is Krishna's form, but then when the existence becomes even more refined, it turns into consciousness. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains that the essence of consciousness is Krishna consciousness. When the consciousness reveals Krishna, the energy of Sandini creates the form of Krishna, creates the beauty of Krishna. But when by the light of consciousness we can see this form, we can understand his beauty, then the essence of consciousness is being manifest. So we can only be conscious in the true sense of the word. We can only be called conscious in the true sense of the word if we are Krishna conscious. And Krishna conscious means seeing the beauty of Krishna, appreciating the beauty of Krishna. If we're looking at Krishna and seeing here a nice statue, very nice statue, it's not Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means we are looking at Krishna and we see this is the beauty personified in front of me. He is there. So Krishna consciousness means appreciating the form of Krishna, the rupa of Krishna, his guna. That's the real Krishna consciousness. Meditating constantly on the essence of God and understanding, trying to understand at least how beautiful he is. So when our consciousness becomes bright enough or purified by the contact with spiritual energy, we will be able to see his form in the plane of spiritual existence, which is Shuddha Sattva. But then Srila Jiva Goswami says that the essence of consciousness is love. You know, as much as the matter or existence without consciousness is meaningless, consciousness without love is also meaningless. You may be conscious, but if you don't have love, does it have any meaning? No, it's useless. It ultimately doesn't have any essence. So love or enjoyment, Hladini Shakti, is the essence of consciousness. So the essence of the essence of the essence of the essence of the essence is Shrimati Radharani. Hladinira Shakti Prema, Hladinira Sara Prema, Prema Sara Bhav, Bhavira Parama Kashta, Sara Mahabhav, and Mahabhava Svarupa Shirada Thakurani. So Hladini is the most essential Hladini, which is the energy of love, which is the energy of enjoyment of Krishna himself, is the essence of God. And therefore it is rightly said that God is love, because his essence is love. But then it is said that the essence of love, because there are so many manifestations of love, so there are so many different manifestations of love even in this world. You know, sometimes people say I love chocolate. Is this the essence of Krishna? No. Or sometimes people love pizza or whatever. Or sometimes people love dog or cat. So this is also called love. Therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, no. The essence of Hladini Shakti is prema. Prema is spiritual love. It's spiritual love, it's love for God. It's God's love and love for him. So this love for him gives the enjoyment to Krishna when we love Krishna, and this love for him gives the enjoyment of somebody who has this love. Somebody who experienced the love for Krishna, he is the most blissful person on the earth. So, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that Hladinira Sara Prema, the essence of Hladini is Prema. The essence of Prema is Bhava. The essence of Bhava, that essence means the highest manifestation of Prema is Bhava, which is the most amazing, the most brilliant, Ujjvala Ras. The most brilliant love, which actually eclipses everything else. So, therefore it's called Ujjvala. The essence of Bhava is Mahabhava. When Bhava becomes the most brilliant and most essential and most condensed, it becomes Mahabhava. And the essence of Mahabhava is Shrimati Radharani. So this is how we go. That's why even her name is so sacred. You know, to even imagine that we can understand her means to manifest our foolishness to utmost extent. because to understand Srimati Radharani means to understand the essence of the essence of the essence of the essence of God. And we can't understand even God slightly. What to speak about understanding His most essential nature. But still, nevertheless, we should try. And my talk today is a feeble attempt to explain this, or at least to have some faint idea of what we are celebrating today. Because the real celebration of Radhastami would be if we feel at least glimpse of real love for Krishna. So, and we all know that love for Krishna is so high, and we chant Hare Krishna, but Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna. So, we don't feel even a fraction of emotions which Srimati Radharani feels when she chants Hare Krishna. When she chants Krishna's name, or when Krishna chants Radha's name, that becomes the most amazing experience for them. That triggers the emotions which are indescribable. So much so that people they faint when they feel the glimpse of these emotions. Before going any further in this connection, I would like to describe little pastime connected with this appearance of Srimati Radharani, how Narada Muni saw Radharani for the first time. It was famous all over the world that Krishna appeared in the world, and at one point, approximately 1 year after Krishna Janmashtami, Narada Muni decided to visit Krishna in Vraj. He decided to visit the house of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda. And of course, Narada Muni is busy traveling all over the world, so it's understandable that it took him 1 year before he came to Vraj after Krishna's appearance day. So he came to the house of Nanda Maharaj in Gokul, Mahavan. Perhaps some of you have been to this beautiful place. There is still this palace with columns, stone columns, where Krishna made his appearance. And Narada Muni knocked at the door of Nanda Maharaj, and Yashoda opened the door, and she was very pleased to see Narada Muni. She bowed down to Narada Muni, and Narada Muni said, "I heard that you have a son. Can you show me your son?" And she brought him to Krishna's bedroom, and he saw beautiful boy Krishna with his bluish black hairs and reddish eyes, huge like lotus petals, reddish at the ends, and his beautiful nose and lips, and Narada Muni was amazed. He felt so much emotions. He started crying, and he looked at Krishna and looked at Krishna and looked at Krishna, and he couldn't stop looking at Krishna. And ultimately, finally, a thought comes to his mind. He said, if Krishna has appeared here, he said, I've seen different forms and manifestations of God. I travel to Vaikuntha and I see four-armed form of Narayana. I travel to different planets, I see different manifestations, but I have never seen anybody who is so beautiful. But then Narada Muni thought, if Krishna appeared in this world, his Shakti, his original energy, must have also appeared somewhere. And therefore, he decided to search for Krishna's Shakti. So he went in Vraj. He said, she must be here. If Krishna is here, she also must be somewhere here. So he knocked on different doors and he was asking, and there was nobody close to what he was looking for. And ultimately he came to Raval, and in Raval there was this beautiful house of Vrishabhanu Maharaj and Kirtida Devi. And he asked, as usually, he asked Vrishabhanu Maharaj and Kirtida Devi, do you have any children? And Vrishabhanu said, yes, I have a beautiful son. Oh, I have such a beautiful son. Show it to me, him to me. And Siddham was procured and showed to Narada Muni. And Narada Muni looked at Siddham and he said, oh, such a nice boy, beautiful boy. I bless this boy. Let this boy become the friend of Krishna. I just visited Krishna. Let they become very close friend, and let them spend years and years together playing all the time. And Vrishabhanu Maharaj became so pleased by these blessings of Narada Muni. And then Narada Muni said, do you have any girl? And Vrishabhanu Maharaj, he nodded his head. He hanged his head. And he said, yes, I have a baby girl who was just born. But the problem is that she is deaf and dumb and blind. Her eyes are closed, she doesn't hear anything, and she doesn't say a word, she doesn't cry, she doesn't pronounce any sound. You know. Narada Muni said, really? Can you show her to me? And then Vrishabhanu Maharaj took Narada Muni to the little room, internal room, and he said, this is my baby girl. And Narada Muni looked at her, and he couldn't really believe himself, because the love which he felt at this moment exceeded the love which he felt when he looked at Krishna many thousands of times. And then he looked at Vrishabhanu Maharaj. He said, you know what? I have to do some very secret samskara for this girl. I will definitely help you to relieve her from these difficulties. Don't worry, she will be talking all the time. No problem. She will be hearing, but you have to leave from here. And you have to collect all the paraphernalia. We will do some yagya, so please collect that for a long time. I'll be busy here. I need to do some really secret ceremony here. So when Vrishabhanu Maharaj left the room, Narada Muni approached with utmost reverence this girl, and he took her on his hands, and he closed her to his heart. And you know, the feeling which he had at that time cannot be described, because the essence of love of Krishna he is holding to his heart. He is holding tight to his heart. And she is this amazing emotion personified, and he is holding her tight to his heart. And he immediately fainted. He could not contain himself. And then, you know, because he had this experience that all the Sakis of Srimati Radharani appeared at this room in a mysterious way, and they started sprinkling the water on Narada Muni's head, and Radha herself manifested her Kishori form. She became a teenager, and all her Sakis, Ashta-Sakis, appeared together with her, and they gave the darshan to Narada Muni. And again, Narada Muni, he was out of this world. He was dancing and fainting and dancing again. So that's why this is in this connection. I wanted to say that, that yeah, Krishna is beautiful, but you can only appreciate his beauty if you have love, if you are somehow rather connected with Srimati Radharani. Yes, Narada Muni had direct darshan of Krishna first, but then only when he had the darshan of Srimati Radharani, when he had this encounter with Srimati Radharani, he could really understand who Krishna is, and he could really understand and appreciate how beautiful Krishna is. This is actually what Srila Prabhupada explains in his lecture which he gave in London on the occasion of Radhastami. There in this lecture he says that you can only understand Krishna through Radha. There is no other way. There is no other way to understand Krishna. If you try to go to him directly, you may get something. But as Acharya says, what you get by going to Krishna directly is only a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what you can get if you try to understand Krishna through Srimati Radharani. If you try to look at Krishna through her eyes or by her mercy, because she is one of the names of Srimati Radharani is Tadit. Tadit means literally lightning. Like at night, when there is a thunder and when there is this and lightning, you cannot see the dark cloud. The only way to see the dark cloud and everything only when the lightning is there. So therefore she is called Tadit, Tadidambaraya. She is the energy of the Lord which helps us to understand the Lord. She is the essential energy of the Lord by which we can understand the Lord. So many people are trying to understand the Lord. So many people have different conceptions of God. But only those people who know who Srimati Radharani and who try to go through her by saying Hare Krishna. First Hare and then Krishna. Not Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna. Only those who go through her, by her grace, they will be able to see the Lord in his full glory. Because other people, they see some aspect of Krishna. Some sort of understanding of Krishna is there, they say, mostly they say that their understanding of Krishna is that he could not be understood. That's the most common conception of God. Yes, he must be there, but nobody can understand him. Like some people say that God is, it's written in Quran, that God is hidden behind 1,000 coverings of light and darkness. So you have to penetrate this 1,000 coverings of light and darkness, light and darkness, light and darkness, before you can understand or have some glimpse or idea of God. So when people try to understand God, that's the conception which they come about. God is behind the curtain, he can never be known, or God is something impersonal, or God is this or that, but we can only know that God is the most beautiful person if we go through Srimati Radharani, because she is the light. She is the light of love, which shows or manifests to us the beauty of God. So, and Prabhupada says that, you should try to approach Krishna through Srimati Radharani because she is so full of love and she always meditates on Krishna. So when she sees some fool like you coming to her and saying, this is something for you, please give it to Krishna, she will look at you and Prabhupada says, you may be the most fallen rascal number one, but she will look at you and she will say, oh, he comes to my Krishna, he loves my Krishna, he is better than me. And then she will come to Krishna and says, there is somebody who is better than me. He's standing here, he is rascal number one, but nevertheless. If she introduces you to him, then only Krishna will recognize you. And if you will try to impose yourself upon Krishna, Krishna will look at you and say, get out of here. I don't have anything to do with you. I don't want to have anything to do with you. So that's why it is so important for us to at least try to understand and to meditate on the glories of Srimati Radharani and her appearance in this day. How only by her mercy we can understand. And that's why, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. And that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and gives something which was not given before. Narpita Charim Chirat Karuna Avatirna Kala. For a long time, the thing which he is ready to give is not being given. Why? Because he is intoxicated with the same love. And because he is intoxicated with the same love, and because this love is overflowing his heart, he is preaching it to everyone else. His preaching is just a manifestation of this overflowing love, which is going through the brims of his heart, and the little droplets of this love landed in our head through the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So again, it's all Radha's mercy. It's the mercy of her love, and we should try to understand her. And to understand her is to understand, at least try to understand how she loves Krishna. So the next story, of course, maybe I should first speak different stories of her. Oh, my goodness, it's too late. I can go on a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go on a little bit. So there are different stories. Again, as I said, there are different even conceptions about Srimati Radharani, but we proudly claim that only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's conception is correct, because he knows the heart, he knows the essence, and he proved it by his personality. When he was there, it was crystal clear to everyone that he's not of this world. Whoever would see him, whoever would see manifestations of his love, they understood this is not something which could be experienced in this world. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's still very special, even in whole Vedic literature. All over India, people worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they know, most of them know, he is God himself in a very special feature. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed to us the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is describing the glories of Radha's love, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed to us the glories of Srimati Radharani and her love, because that was his mission. As I said, people have different ideas about Srimati Radharani. If you go to Raval, Raval is the village where she appeared in this world. It's near Gokul Mahavan on the other side of Yamuna. So in Raval they usually tell the story how Vrishabhanu Maharaj, after a long time, they were married with Kirtida Devi. And for a long time they didn't have any children. And ultimately he was worshipping Katyayani Devi. And Katyayani Devi gave him the blessings. And this story we can accept. So they say in Raval that the story is that once he went in the morning, early in the morning, after getting these blessings from Katyayani Devi, he went to Yamuna to take bath, and at that time the beautiful 1,000 petals lotus flower, golden lotus flower was flowing in Yamuna, and this lotus flower bumped Vrishabhanu Maharaj, and he took this lotus in his hands, and he saw a baby girl in this lotus, and he took the baby girl, and he understood this is the blessings of Katyayani Devi, who gave me this girl. So that's one understanding. Srila Rupa Goswami in Lalita Madhava, he explains the different story. And of course, the difference of the stories, all the stories are okay, all right, because they all happen in different yuga. Yuga Veda, according to Yuga Veda, therefore different saints, they meditate, and in their meditation they see reality in a different way. We should not be confused. This story about Radha appearing on the lotus flower and flowing in Yamuna is actually explained in Padma Purana also. There it is explained that this is how she appeared in Braj. Srila Rupa Goswami explains the story in a different way. And it's a very beautiful way how he explains this. He said that actually Kirtida Devi was pregnant with two baby girls. One is Radha, another one is Chandravati. And when Kirtida Devi was pregnant, at the same time, what happened, Vindhya mountain, the king of Vindhya, it's a mountain in the south of India, he became very jealous of Himalayas, because at that time Himalayas, that they had a beautiful daughter and Parvati, and they gave the daughter Parvati in marriage to Lord Shiva. And you know, this is explained how this very pompous marriage ceremony was there when Lord Shiva was marrying Parvati, and you know, the fame of this was spread all over the world, and this Vindhya mountain, he became very, very jealous and he decided to perform austerities. And for a long time he performed austerities, and ultimately Lord Brahma, he came to Vindhya mountain, and he said, "What do you want? You're performing this severe austerity, you must have some very strong desire. What do you want?" And Vindhya mountain said, "Yes, I know you are the supreme God of creation. I want to have a son-in-law which is more powerful than the son-in-law of Himalayas." This is how it works. You know, I have to be better. So Brahma, who was flattered by Vindhya mountain before, he said, "Tata hastu, let it be so." And then after he said this, he realized, what did I say? What did I promise to him? How can be, you know, the son-in-law of Himalayas is Lord Shiva himself. How somebody can be more powerful than Lord Shiva himself? You know, did I make a fool out of myself by promising this to Vindhya mountain? You know, and then he started thinking, and then he realized that, yeah, Krishna is soon appearing on the earth, or he's about to appear, or he already appeared, and he realized, yes, you know, if Krishna would become the son-in-law of Vindhya mountain, then my promise would be fulfilled, and then I would not make fool out of myself. So he went to Krishna, and he started begging Krishna, and he said, after all, I'm doing some service to you, very selflessly. Can you give me some moon? This is again how usually it works. I'm doing something completely selflessly. Can you give me something in return? So he goes to him and he says, I need some moon from you. And Krishna says, what do you want? Yeah, I want that your energy would become the daughter of Vindhya mountain, and you become the husband of Radha. And Krishna blessed Lord Brahma and said, no problem. My energy can become anyone's daughter. Because she's the most merciful. So, and it is said that Kirtida Devi, she became pregnant, and she had these two beautiful daughters in her womb. And then Yoga Maya, by the desire of Krishna, she transferred Radharani and Chandravali to the womb of the wife of Vindhya mountain. It's also very interesting because when Vindhya mountain, they became very proud. He became very proud, and he started growing. He wanted to compete with Himalayas, and he started growing, and ultimately he became higher than Himalayas. And when Lord Brahma came to Vindhya mountain, then the Vindhya mountain bowed down, asked for boon, and then when Lord Brahma gave the boon again, Vindhya mountain again bowed down to Lord Brahma and said, thank you. And Lord Brahma said, now you stay like this. So that's why now Vindhya mountain, they're very flat and not very high. Not as high as Himalayas. Before they were quite prominent. Anyway, so that's the story. And then when Vindhya mountain appeared in this world, and that's the most important part of the story, why I started telling this story. There is a reason behind this. It is said, Srila Rupa Goswami explains that when Krishna appeared in this world, we know the story, this is explained in 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami, that Vasudeva Maharaj, he took little baby girl from Yashoda Mai in Vraj and brought it to the prison cell in Mathura. And when Kamsa stormed into the prison cell, he grabbed this baby girl despite the desperate cry of Devaki, and he just, tried to smash the baby girl on the stone. There was a special stone where he would kill the children of Devaki. And the baby girl, she slipped out of the hands of Kamsa, and she went to the sky, manifested her 10 arms form, and started saying that, Kamsa, you fool, somebody who will kill you was born somewhere else. And she said, also, Rupa Goswami adds to this speech, which was revealed by Sukadeva Goswami, he said that together with somebody who will kill you, his different energies also appeared in this world. Because he is the Supreme Lord, he is the Supreme Person, he cannot appear without his energies. His energies are always with him. So they appeared with him, his most prominent and opulent energies. So when Kamsa Maharaj heard about this, he immediately had this plan, we know, after consultation with his demoniac friends, that he should kill all the male children somewhere else, wherever they're born. But he also said to Putana was the first one who volunteered. She said, my dear sir, may I do this most important service to you? And he said to Putana, you kill all the male babies who are born within this 9-10 days. And then, but you take all the girls and bring them to me. Because he knew if the energy of the Lord appeared together with the Lord, then, she could enjoy the energy of the Lord. That's the demonic mentality. Demons, they always want to enjoy the energy of the Lord without the Lord. And, that also is quite a prominent characteristic of our psyche, of our consciousness, of our mentality. We want to enjoy the energy of the Lord without the Lord, separately of the Lord. So that's exactly what Kamsa wanted. He wanted to kill the Lord, and he wanted to enjoy his energy. And we all know Lord killed him. And of course, Lord always enjoys his energy. So that's the great lesson of this appearance day. And Putana, when she was flying over the Vindhya mountain, she took these two baby girls because she saw how beautiful they were. And she thought, if I bring these beautiful baby girls to Kamsa, he will give me a lot of wealth. So she was taking this, and at that time, that was the birth ceremony, and there was a big yagya going on. Vindhya mountain invited so many qualified brahmanas, and they were doing big yagya. And when all of a sudden, the cause of this yagya was grabbed by Putana, and she's flying with this. So the main priests, all the brahmanas who were performing these yagyas, they pronounced the mantra. And by this mantra against the demons, by this mantra, Putana, she felt weaker and weaker and weaker at every moment. She's flying with these girls, and she feels that girls are so heavy, incredibly heavy, and she's weaker and weaker and weaker, and ultimately she drops these girls, and she actually first delivered them to Raj, and then she was a good courier. So she brings them to Raj, and she drops them, and then of course Purnamasi Devi finds Srimati Radharani, gives her to Mukhara, and Mukhara delivers her to Kirtida Devi. But again, it's very interesting that there are different stories of Srimati Radharani's appearance, and Raghunath Das Goswami in his meditation in Avraja Vilas Stava, he specifically says that no. Actually, Srimati Radharani was born from Kirtida's womb. It's like this, we have the story from Shukadev Goswami who describes that Krishna appeared in the prison cell of Kamsa. But then our acharyas comes and they say, yeah, maybe, Devaki Janmavada, they say that he was born to Devaki. That may or may not be, but for sure he was born to Yashoda, because nobody can be compared. The love of Yashoda cannot be compared with the love of Devaki. Therefore, Krishna could only appear from Yashoda's womb directly. He has to be there because she was waiting for Krishna and meditating on Krishna, not on somebody else. So he must be in her womb. In the same way, Radharani can only be in the womb of Kirtida, because Kirtida is her eternal mother. So Raghunath Das Goswami, he specifically says that Kirtida, she is named Kirtida. The name Kirtida means the one who gives kirti, the one who gives glory, the one who gives fame. So she's named Kirtida because she brought or she gave the most glorious Srimati Radharani to this world. And therefore in both in Bhakti Ratnakar and Braja Vilasa Stav by Raghunath Das Goswami, they say that all these stories, they may be there with Vindhya mountain, because sometimes Srimati Radharani is called the daughter of Vindhya. That's one of her names. That may be there. There is another story in Purana how Kalavati and Suchandra were performing austerities, and by the boon of Katyayani Devi, they received Srimati Radharani as their daughter. That may be there. But ultimately, the eternal mother of Srimati Radharani is Kirtida Devi. And she could only be born from her womb. From nobody else's womb she can appear in this world. Because again, love can only appear from the womb of love. She cannot appear from, from the womb of jealousy. She cannot appear, that may be some pastime in some other yuga, but when Krishna himself comes, especially in this yuga, our Acharya says, he was born as Yashodanandana, and his eternal counterpart, Srimati Radharani, was born as Kirtida Devi. And that's how they appeared in this world, and ultimately how they met each other. But that's another story. I don't have time to say about this. But actually, the very last story, because it's already too late, how they met with each other for the first time. As you remember, Narada Muni, he gave these blessings to Vrishabhanu Maharaj and Kirtida Devi. Don't worry, your daughter will talk too much. And she will also see and hear. So immediately after, because he understood what's happening, immediately after having this darshan of Kishori form of Srimati Radharani, he went back to Nanda Maharaj's house. He went to search for the energy of the Lord after seeing Krishna, but then immediately he went to Nanda Maharaj's house and he said, you know what, I've just been to the house of Kirtida and Vrishabhanu, and they recently they delivered the most beautiful girl in the creation. You must go to see them. So, it's village, there's no internet at that time, no YouTube. The only, entertainment is to go somewhere and, to see who is born or who is dead or who is getting married. That's the village life, So immediately Yashoda Devi, she puts the best dress, and Nanda Maharaj puts his turban, in the most beautiful way. And they're taking little baby Krishna, who is 1 year old, and they're taking him with them. Yashoda carries him in the lap, and they go to Raval, to the next village, which is close to Gakund, Mahaval, and they come to Kirtida and Vrishabhanu. They are good friends, and they met each other, and and they started saying, started talking, and they said, we heard that the most beautiful girl was born in your house. And they said, yes, but the problem is that she is deaf and she's blind. She doesn't open her eyes, and she's not, pronouncing any sound at all. Then Yashoda said, can I see the girl? And we all know that mothers, they like their baby and they like other babies. They like to, especially when they're very small. So, and then Kirtida brings Srimati Radharani to the other room where Yashoda is sitting with Nanda, and Yashoda puts Krishna down on the floor, and she sits Srimati Radharani on her lap, and she looks at her and she sees how cute and beautiful she is, and she's golden and Krishna is black, and she looks at her and cannot take her eyes from a beautiful girl, and Krishna becomes really angry. And he starts crying. As we know, when little children, when they feel that they're neglected or they don't have enough attention from their mothers, they started crying. So, and Yashoda, she cannot part with Srimati Radharani, so she takes little Krishna and sits him on her lap together with Srimati Radharani. And then when this little baby Krishna, he's little, doesn't understand anything. So we know that children, they like to touch, somebody. So Krishna sees this Radha sitting next to him, and he's just going like this. He's just attracted to her, and he's coming and touching her. And as soon as he touches her, she opens her eyes. Beautiful blue eyes. And then she opens her eyes, and immediately she starts crying. And this is the tears of love that she manifested. He saw Krishna. So that's the last story. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Radha Londonisvara ki jai. Questions? I don't know if there are some questions.
What would you recommend to pray on the day Srimati Radharani is very hard?
Our prayer is all the same. Srila Prabhupada explains the meaning of our main prayer, or energy of the Lord. Oh, Srimati Radharani, please engage me in the service of the Lord. Help me to become His real servant. Bless me with your purity. Make me one-pointed in my devotion to the Lord. Make me forget about my own petty pleasures and sorrows, and make me overwhelmed with the emotions or bhavas of the beauty of the Lord. So that's our prayer. Please make me pure servant of the Lord. It's like Srila Prabhupada's father, Gaur Mahande. He would ask all the sadhus who would come to their house, please bless my little baby son, so he would become the pure servant of Srimati Radharani. So our prayer is for this, because this is the highest achievement, because the pure service means pure love, and pure love means the highest possible enjoyment, which Narada Muni experienced when he saw Srimati Radharani.
I've heard that Radharani is the guru for all the devotees who are in Madhurya Rasa, and they take inspiration from her, and also the rasa of Sakya Rasa, Balaram is accepted as the guru. So how do the devotees who are in Sakya Rasa relate to Srimati Radharani?
Well, in the spiritual world, everyone adores and worships Srimati Radharani. She is the hub. She is the center of all existence. She is the highest manifestation. And yes, some of the friends of Krishna, they directly taking part in his romantic pastimes like Subal or Madhumangal. They are allowed to be a part of the close relationship. Others, they just being completely overwhelmed with the love of